welcome back to another episode with Sage and the Rage.
I'm Sage.
And I'm Rage. And today we're talking about 10 reasons to be excited for and concerned for the battle for Azeroth.
Yeah, so we're kind of splitting this up into 5 for, battle for Azeroth is going to be great. 5 for maybe take a grain of salt or two.
Absolutely. So we're going to start out with some of the positive things, and Sage has number one reason to be hyped for the battle for Azeroth.
PvP's coming back in force. If you played through Legion, you know that other than the, little bit of world PvP that was mostly just fight some faction NPCs, PvP really didn't play a role until Silithus came out. So now with Battle for Azeroth, they're redoubling their efforts. They're making world PvP better by, instead of having servers, you opt into it. They have war fronts, they have island expeditions. We've got the new Silithus Battleground, which just came out. And overall, the focus on Alliance versus Horde is in the forefront of this expansion.
So it should push PvP out there. In Legion, let's be honest, at the time we're recording this, the Silithus Battleground still isn't out. And we had no new battlegrounds added at all. We had some holiday battleground things where it was like, Warsong Gulch, you can capture a flag anytime. The Blizzard in Arithi Basin, but nothing was new.
Yeah.
Nothing was exciting. And now with the war fronts, you can team up with, 19 of your friends and go at it. With the island expeditions, that can turn into a PvE or a PvP thing, and you can play against other players. It just seems like overall, PvP is making a comeback, and you as the player still get to control how much of that you're involved in and how much of it you're not.
Yeah.
So it seems like a great thing. It doesn't force anyone to do it, but at the same time, it actually is a focus in Battle for Azeroth. Number 2, I'm just going to throw it out there in general. Number 2 reason to be hyped for Battle for Azeroth is new content. Let's face it, we've got months left in Antorus, and yeah, there's going to be some patches in Silithus and some other stuff coming up, but I think we're all legioned out. The color Fellfire is we're done with green. Everybody's done with green. It's been a cool fad. It was a lot of fun. I loved Legion. But at the same time, with every expansion, when we get near the end of it, and there's that dry period where we're waiting for that big batch of new content, we're just pumped for it. We've got new places to explore, new islands to go to, new locale. There's just a lot to take in and a whole lot of new stories and adventures to happen. And that's what always drives Warcraft forward, is new content. And that's what we're always thirsty for. And it seems like, with Legion, they've gone really full bore on making it well done and releasing on a regular basis. So we know that with Battle for Azeroth, all that new content is going to keep heaping out.
Yeah, this expansion, it just looks like it's loaded with a lot of new stuff. And what's even better with it is now if you play either Horde or Alliance, you get a different experience either way. With Alliance, you'll get Kul Tiras and experiencing that story, those allied races stories. But then you flip over the Horde side, you get to experience Zandalar and what's going on with the Horde. Rather than with most expansions, the window dressings are a little bit different, but at the core, Horde and Alliance get the same stuff.
Yep. Which brings us straight to point number 3, which you kind of brought up there, which was allied races and the leveling system being redone. This seems really exciting. The leveling system has been revamped. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but it's much easier, streamlined, and fluid to level something now. You have choices between going to Outland for the Burning Crusade or Northrend now. You have choices between Cataclysm and other areas and things like that. You have choices in how you level your tunes, and that leveling plays a role in the new allied races. These allied races, there's 3 on each side right now. We've got the High Mountain Tauren, the Nightborn, the Zandalari Trolls for the Horde. We've got the Void Elves, the Lightforged Draenei, and what's the last alliance? Dark Iron Dwarves.
Dark Iron Dwarves.
And they've already kind of put out information on their new racial abilities, which Sage and I have another video on already, so I'm not going to go into too much detail there. But new abilities, new races, it always adds new flavors and dimensions to the game. The other thing that this always does is when they put in new races, all of us look at our old races and go, hey, when are Worgen and Trolls going to get their update?
Yeah, that's a good point. But with the new races, too, comes, throwing a bone to the RP players. Mm-hmm. That opens new doors for them. And, recruiting these new races is going to be new content,
Absolutely. And re-leveling is going to be something that has new life breathed into it. Because right now, leveling is just simply put on your gear, go into the dungeon queue.
Yeah.
I'm excited to actually, and I am looking forward to leveling characters with a different aspect on it. So that should be cool. Number 4 for reasons to be hyped is new lore. New character development. We've got characters that have been gone this whole time, like Thrall, like Jaina. And we've got characters that are going to continue to develop, whether you like them or hate them. Anduin Wrynn is going to keep growing. Sylvanas is going to keep leading the Horde on her end. We're going to see what happens there. There might even be a cameo return with Vol'jin. Maybe some things with his spirit and taking him back to Zandalar, and maybe he'll appear to us. There's also the possibility of Old God interaction, as we see that Old God testing facility in the swamp in Zandalar. And we see that we're going to be fighting Ashara outside of Kultur Ras. So we see she's a servant of Enzoth. There's all these different places this can expand into. Or just in general, we get to see character development. And new lore for me is a huge thing that I get excited about.
Oh yeah, it's always great when you can expand the story beyond. And looking to our Horde players, they actually get to experience the lore a little bit deeper. Legion, sad to say, was a little bit light on Horde lore.
Yeah.
After Stormheim, Horde kind of took a back seat. But with Battle for Azeroth, you Horde players get to join in on the fun.
Yeah, it really did feel like up in Antorus. It was Velen and the Alliance.
Yeah, so, we get new lore, we're going to get new perspectives, and some older characters are coming back. Some more recent characters we've had focus on are now taking a back seat. Mm-hmm. Not going into too much detail, but Illidan, Khadgar, we're probably not going to see a whole lot of them.
Nope.
In Battle for Azeroth. So now we get to go back to Jaina, go back to Thrall, redouble our efforts on, Sylvanas and Gen Greymane. Those two are still at each other's throats.
Yep. The last thing on reasons to be hyped is the new, I'm going to call it the new artifact. It doesn't act like an artifact at all in some ways. In other ways it does. And that is our necklace that we'll be wearing, the Heart of Azeroth. You will not be trading or looking for new necklace upgrades during this expansion.
Jewel crafters beware.
But the Heart of Azeroth is a system that allows character customization how you want to customize it. There's always these choices on each level that it grows and expands outward as you progress through the Azerite Heart of Azeroth system. And it allows you to customize your character for your playstyle. Do you want to be able to stand in more fire with better defensives, or do you want to move out of fire quicker? Do you want to increase one offensive ability or another offensive ability? Maybe you want your cleave, maybe you want your single target. We don't know how it's all going to work, but we do know it is a system that allows customization for players to build how they want to build. Or at least it should.
Yeah, from the looks of it, how I would compare how it looks like it works is it's like a Netherlight Crucible for all your, well, not all your gear, but most of your gear. You're given paths and choices and rings, and you kind of get to pick how you want it built.
Yep. And that should affect your head, your shoulder, and your chest armor.
Yeah.
And even if you replace your head, your shoulder, your chest armor, you instantly get to repick those options again, or new options are there, but you don't have to re-level and pump Azerite into it. Once you unlock certain abilities on those pieces of armor through the necklace, they stay unlocked in general.
Yeah, except for when you actually get like a full item level upgrade, I think. You have to level up the Heart of Azeroth a little bit more.
Well, no, the heart stays the same. You get an item level upgrade on those armor pieces, it will stay exactly where it was. So let's say I have a 750 chest, and it has 2 out of 3 abilities for the amulet unlocked on it. If I grab a 790 chest, it still has 2 out of 3 abilities unlocked on it. That's the way that I saw it at the BlizzCon presentation.
Alrighty.
So that's exciting because it allows progression to stay progression.
Yeah.
On gear. And then let's get to the 5 reasons to be a little concerned about the Battle for Azeroth.
So let's jump in. Number 5 is the Heart of Azeroth.
the reason to be concerned about the Heart of Azeroth. Number 5 reason to be concerned is that it is replacing our artifacts, and there is no more tier gear that's already been announced. The new raids will not have tier armor. So the only character customization you have is the Heart of Azeroth and what it does to your armor pieces. If that character customization sucks for certain classes, like certain tier armor bonuses sometimes are just... that's going to be awful. It leaves you absolutely nowhere to go And if the system isn't developed well enough and it just becomes another big grind like our artifact weapons have become now at the end of Antorus, even with the Netherlight Crucible, once you get to level 75 and beyond, it's just an AP grind for small integral power. Are they going to learn from Legion and make it something that keeps expanding all the way through, or is it just going to be the same thing where, oh, it's cool for a little while and it gives you those choices, character customization, and then really everybody has all the same stuff and it's just a power progression creep of just grinding?
Well, and the other thing is, we don't really know how much choice we're actually going to have. You know, it could very much turn into the illusion of choice where, yeah, you could choose between these 3 abilities, but this one's great, and the other 2, you might as well just quit.
Similarly to our current Legion legendaries. There's the illusion of choice on which legendary you're going to equip, but the reality is, if you want the throughput and you want to be competitive at all in your class, you have to have the right legendaries.
Yeah. So we'll see how Blizzard implements it. It could be great, it could not be very great, but, you know, that's neither here nor there at this point.
Yep. Number 4 reason to be a little concerned about Battle for Azeroth is the vagueness of what was given to us and delivered to us at BlizzCon 2017. They were like, so we're going to get back to the battle, here's our cinematic, here's some war fronts, here's some island expeditions, here's Kulturas, here's Zandalar, and that was all very detailed and there was a lot there, but then beyond that, it was just like, so what's the purpose? We're just fighting because we want to fight?
Yeah, why? How did this start? Where did we get here? Why are we fighting? You know,
what reignited it? And obviously we can get into Silithus and Azerite and all that, and yeah, there's some explanations, but then even within those details it was also vague. Like the Warfronts, not that much information about how the Warfront's actually going to work. Island Expeditions was the thing we probably got the most information on, and it seems, if I'm going to compare it to a previous expansion, that's like giving us a detailed description of how scenarios worked in Mist of Pandaria.
Yeah.
Which was a small gameplay mechanic in the large scheme of things. And then the Heart of Azeroth, I mean, it was explained, but not in great detail.
Yeah, you know, we got a little bit, you can pick your abilities, it works like this, but we never really got into the meat of anything. It's kind of, they just kind of glossed over what this expansion is without giving us really what this expansion is.
Yep, even down to the characters. They're like, so here's our 4 main characters, and they put a picture up on the screen. They're like, these are the characters that are going to be really involved in this expansion. Anduin, Sylvanas, Thrall, and Jaina. And they never said a word about what Thrall and Jaina are doing.
No, we know that Jaina's there because Kulturas. Mm-hmm. We don't even know why Thrall's there.
No.
Like,
I think the number one thing speculated that I've seen in comments in our own videos and all over the internet is Thrall's going to take a pilgrimage with Vol'jin's ashes to Zandalar.
Yeah, that's...
And I'm going to laugh if that's real.
That could be.
So, the vagueness. There's a lot still unanswered. And it almost seems like all the eggs were put into the Legion basket. And now it's kind of like, oh, what are we doing now?
Which leads into point number 3. This could just be a filler expansion. Rage and I both kind of think that there's more going on behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. But we could be wrong. And this very much could just turn out to be, hey, we needed to spin the wheels a bit before we could get on to the stuff you actually care about.
And even if it points towards Old God activity and Void Lords, and yeah, we're getting Void Elves, and yeah, we know that the Sunwell comes under attack and some of the patches coming up. We know the battle in Silithus is coming up. We've even seen that Khadgar is leaving us in patch 7.3.5. We see all this stuff on the horizon, but as we go through Battle for Azeroth, there's a high probability it could point towards Void Lords and Old Gods and continuing the threat against Azeroth, or it could just point towards and never actually build on. And it could be like, I don't want to say this, nothing can be as bad as Warlords of Draenor, but it could be a filler which just gets us to point B. And that scares and concerns me, and I think it would a lot of the player base, because none of us want to go through that again.
Yeah, this very much could be an expansion where we just set up the dominoes to knock them back down. You might not end up actually knocking anything down. It could just be, here's a bunch of stuff for next time. Go fight your horde, go fight your alliance.
And there are times where in storytelling you do have to set dominoes back up. You can't have a climax every chapter.
Yeah.
But we've learned now that chapters and player subscriptions and how engaging that chapter is to player read, so to say, does really affect the game and its overall health. So hopefully it's not filler. Reason number, as we're coming backwards, 2 to be concerned about the Battle for Azeroth is there a possibility that we as the players and the heroes will once again take a back seat to the lore heroes?
Yeah, if anyone remembers back in Cataclysm, we trimmed Deathwing's toenails while Thrall did all the heavy lifting.
Green Jesus was the Messiah of Azeroth, and we just kind of sat back with the toenails clipper going, cool.
Yeah, so I'm really hoping this next expansion, we don't take a backseat to Sylvanas, to Anduin, even to Thrall once again.
I've loved Legion in the fact that we interact with the heroes. You know, Khadgar, Velen, Illidan, all these people are there in all these raids, and we're interacting with them, and they're giving us this progression through the quest line. But we're seen as equals, in some ways, to these major characters. And we work with them to develop the storyline. I really, as a player, do not want to go back to being like, well, Green Jesus said so I'm going to go do it.
I mean, let's take Legion. You fight Argus. You beat Argus. You don't sit around while, like, Illidan or Khadgar, you know, deals with him while you just kind of play distraction.
Exactly. And so from a lore and raid and mechanics perspective, going back to anything like that could be slightly scary. But at the same time, we need these characters to return. You know, we said that was a positive, that they are returning. But it also can be a negative. And then the number one reason to have some concern about the Battle for Azeroth is that there is no clear antagonist.
Yeah, we're kind of going in blind. Like, who's the big bad this time?
Is there a big bad at all? Which plays back to the idea of, is this a filler expansion? It goes back to the heroes being the focus. Are we just fighting each other, or is there something that is going to focus us as players and characters inside of this world again? Or is it simply just a PvP expansion? And if that be the case, yes, you can always opt out of the PvP like we talked about in the positives, but a lot of people, and by a lot, I mean half the servers or more, are not PvP servers. So what does that tell you? People don't want to just fight the Horde, and they don't just want to fight the Alliance.
And so help me if it turns out, once again, hey, we're going to make a Horde leader the big bad of the expansion. Please don't.
That's another scary thing. With no clear antagonist, that leaves us open for anyone to be the antagonist. Are we going to have another Garrosh? Are we going to have Sylvanas go down that path? And I hope not. We've done that too many times. If we're going to do a thing like that, I would hope that they turn Gen into the big bad and we can kill the wolf. And I'm an Alliance player. I'd love to shove my glaive in his back.
So yeah, I'd say that's kind of our top 5 reasons for and against Battle for Azeroth. Let us know down in the comments what reasons you have to be excited or be skeptical of this new expansion.
And as always, thanks for the support on the channel. Hit like, hit subscribe, and hit that little bell icon so you can get updates on the channel in the future as we travel forward into the Battle for Azeroth. See ya.
Thanks for watching.